Can you see me with no shoes on? Oh. Welcome into the AutoNation Pre-Game Show. We have a massive game here tonight. Inter Miami playing host versus Toronto FC. If you're wondering why I don't have shoes on, because I don't want the groundskeepers to kick me out of the stadium. Tune in to the AutoNation Pre-Game Show as we break it all down with myself, Kaylin Kyle, Thomas Rongen, and Phil Shane. Well, welcome back into the AutoNation Pre-Game Show. I got my shoes back on. I didn't get kicked out of the stadium. I also have my Canadian tuxedo on. I am cheering for Inter Miami, but my Canadian heart is still up in Canada. Phil Shane, thank you so much for joining us. La Liga legend, broadcast legend. I started my career with you, so I'm absolutely delighted that you're here filling in for Chris Whittingham.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's an honor, and especially the way they're playing, it's going to be some fun.
And Thomas, I'm happy that you made it on time. Let's just call it spade
a spade. With your shoes on.
With your shoes on. Now, although I want to be in the sprinklers right now because it is hot and humid here in South Florida, the fans are starting to roll in, and we have a huge clash. Inter Miami that have been flying, to say the least, 4 games undefeated, going against a giant house of Toronto FC. If the season would have started 5 weeks ago, Toronto might look a little bit different on the table since adding those Italian threats, Phil.
No, absolutely. And Inter Miami coming off of that big win against NYC. They need to keep the momentum going. but they're taking on a Toronto squad that's playing its best football of the year, and maybe right now, as you talked about, over the last 5 games, the most dangerous offense in MLS.
Now, Thomas, Dre actually made a really good point in our group chat. He said there's more Italians starting in the starting 11
so
for
true.
Toronto FC than there is in tomorrow's matches with Atalanta and Milan.
I recounted Michael Bradley, who played, by the way, in Italy.
We're not. He's American.
You got 3 on the roster, no doubt, and Benedetchi and Insigne, the 2 big ones. But their left fullback, who scored, by the way, a brilliant goal in their 2-2 tie in their last game on Wednesday, obviously at home against New England. So it's got a real Italian flair, experience, and just like the arrival of Pozuelo. Yes, Pozuelo played for TFC and will match up against Michael Bradley. That should be one hell of a battle. We also have some big DPs in Pozuelo and Higuain, who've been really huge in the last few weeks. So this should be a great matchup by big-name players against each other. And by the way, Higuain, I think he's played with all of them at one point in time. Juve and Insigne at Napoli. And brilliant.
By the way, I got my first high from Gonzalo Higuain today, so he's obviously feeling pretty good because in the 3 years I've worked here at Inter Miami, I have never gotten a wave or a hi or hey, how are you? I want to stay on. Yeah, T, let's get you off with your credential here at the moment, and same with you, Phil. Like, we know that you work for Inter Miami, but it would be great to see these gone. I want to stay with the team of Toronto, and I want to stay with these big-name players because they've completely turned it around, to say the least. You look at Bob Bradley, he came in, and Toronto FC thought Bob Bradley was going to be the recipe for success. It didn't quite pan out like that. And then they started putting their money where their mouth is, like Toronto usually does, and put the paychecks there, brought in some of the top players. T, for someone like yourself, you're a former manager and player, what do they add to the side? Is it experience, or is that just their presence on the pitch?
I think it's a combination of a lot. And just like Inter Miami put pieces together, so did Bob Bradley, letting go of the MVP of 2 years ago in Pozuelo because he wanted Bernardeschi and Insigne. And all of a sudden, Osorio. And by the way, Osorio, Canadian, huge for the Canadian national team, is their leading goal scorer still. You got Michael Bradley in midfield. You got Nelson, who's pretty darn good as well. And then up front, depending on how fit or how healthy he is, Jimenez, is still a guy that scores 9 goals and 3 assists as well. So that front 4 or 5 is pretty darn good. Their back 4 is not great, giving up 45 goals, and that's where we can have some success.
Oh, I love talking about success, and I also love talking about some highlights as well to see where and how both of these teams got here. You look at Inter Miami, just 2 points shy of that playoff spot, so the 3 points tonight is massive for our home side, and we know that their home form has been phenomenal. So let's take a look at some of these highlights going up against New York City FC and just how we got here. Obviously, this game ended 3-2, but you look at Pozuelo and just what he added to this side, being in and around that 18-yard box in service from central areas.
Well, really taking a look at what he's able to do is to unlock the back line. He's a dangerous player. Here we see NYC was playing pretty well. It was something that Inter Miami had to worry about, but something seemed to happen late in this match. Something that Thomas and I were talking about that could happen against Toronto. I know for Canadians it's hot right now. It was like 80 degrees.
I'm not hot, I'm not sweating.
No, but 80 degrees up in TO today.
And that's, by the way, Pozuelo's first goal, Phil, that we're just showing right now. Brilliant.
But it's the humidity here as well. And you saw Pozuelo take advantage of a crumbling NYC late. The legs just picked up for Inter Miami. We expect to see that here today. And really key in my mind, because it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Ariel Lassiter off the bench. It's a kid who's come in before and failed in the spotlight. But he's learned his lesson. He's coming in, and now he's an extra weapon for Phil Neville.
I love that you talked about Lassiter. And, Thomas, you're shaking your head. Go on.
Yeah, because we all thought that the starting 11, we get another better footballer on the pitch with Bryce Duke. But what we lost was depth and speed and getting behind a back 4. And that changed. Well done, Phil Neville. Changed a lot of things, obviously. Lassiter's goal was huge. Pozuelo's winner eventually big as well, but I think that Ariel Lassiter, just with his mere presence, was able to all of a sudden stretch that back 4 of New York and then allowed underneath Pozuelo, Mota, and Gregory to do their thing.
But someone like a Lassiter, he's been given opportunities to start. How difficult is that as a player that's trying to gain confidence to keep that starting 11 position, Thomas? Or is he better maybe coming in when the game does open up at 60 minutes?
And that's a great question, Kaylin, absolutely. And Phil Neville this year, and in particular as of late, because I think Robinson might be the only one on the injury list still. He has depth now, and he can make choices, good and hard choices with his starting 11. or letting Lazar come off the bench, which is great that he has those decisions to be made.
And we just saw that second goal from Pozuelo. Again, something that Thomas and I talked about. You could say it was an easy goal, but he had to be in position, anticipating the possibility of a back pass. So tired brain, tired feet. Pozuelo was able to capitalize, and that's the difference between 3 points and 1.
And usually I'm not a big fan of stats, and this is exactly why. Inter Miami being clinical in the finishing, and you look at that possession. New York City FC came here and dominated possession, but it was very sideways, backwards, and Inter Miami made them play into those channels. So, really,
what's that Jose Mourinho line? When they figure out a different way of deciding the winner, then I'll play a different way.
Phil, you know what? I usually have to tune in on Saturdays to Sundays
to
Ligue 1, the Super Turkish League, to hear both of your voices together. So I'm absolutely delighted to be sitting here on a Saturday night in South Florida.
Actually, you gave us a shout out the last PSG game. Thank you, KK.
Well, it's because I love hearing you
Thank
guys.
you,
I love
thank
Chris
you,
as well.
thank
I
you.
love everyone. I'm actually extremely lucky to work with probably the best people in the industry. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we got much, much more just around the corner. I sat down with Pozuelo this week, got to pick his little brain about where he likes it better, in Toronto or here in South Florida in Miami. Stay tuned.
Swipers, and now used car buyers. Go to AutoNation.com today. You'll see thousands of one-price pre-owned vehicles online right now. All your favorite makes and models, all quality inspected, all priced to sell with no hassles. Plus, we'll even pay top dollar for your car. Go to the AutoNation store near you or AutoNation.com. What drives you drives us. AutoNation.
¿Qué te pareció el partido?
Bueno, por suerte metimos al captain a tiempo y se llevó muy bien con la piña. Es un dúo que nos gustó mucho y va a ser historia en esta casa. Si quieres vivir un partido épico, mete al captain.
Gracias.
I need to try it first.
Stir things up with Espolón Tequila, the official tequila sponsor of Inter Miami CF. Made with hand-harvested 100% Blue Weber agave from Los Altos de Jalisco, Mexico. Grab an Espolón cocktail at a stadium bar today.
Has served this community for more than 40 years. We guarantee 100% term money eradication or your money back.
Call Aflex.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
Demesman & Dover Law Firm is about community for me.
For us, South Florida is our home.
You all are our people, our family, our future.
The difference we will make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters.
Because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us anytime at 866-954-MORE. Demesman & Dover, your accidentattorneys.com.
Welcome back in. Welcome back into the AutoNation pregame show with myself, Kaylin Kyle, Phil Shane, and Thomas Rong. Yes, you heard that right. We are delighted to be sitting next to the legend himself, Phil Shane, where I started my career. Thomas, you started working with him here as well. Great insight to both every league in the world. Let's just call a spade a spade. The man knows it all. I don't know if he sleeps or what he does, but I got to sit down with Pozuelo this week and pick his brain about what he likes better, Toronto or Miami. Let's take a listen.
Gone back to that second season where you were that league MVP. How did you do that mentally, and how did you deal with that pressure?
I feel like my time in Toronto was over. You know, when you feel like you go in training and I go to training and you don't have this motivation. So when I was speaking with the president, we feel it in the same way. So we try to speak, we try to do the best solution for both, for Toronto. For me, they try to bring some other players, and when the Miami option, I have it. This is my first option to come here, and I know my quality. I know I have confidence in my. I know what I can do for the team, and I like to be like a leader. I have this character, you know, to speak with the young guys, to have good relationship with the young guy, with other guys, with Gonzalo, with Duke. I don't care. I like to help. I like to help the team anyway. So this is my job.
So that was the one question I wanted to ask you, because I've been very vocal, whether it's in broadcasts or on social media, since you have come into the side of Inter Miami. Gonzalo Higuain looks like a new player. He finally has that service from that center of the pitch, not just from the wide area. So what's your relationship been like with him now, especially he's getting on this the goal scoring sheet week after week?
No, I'm the same. I know Gonzalo from a lot of years, you know. And I know the frustration that maybe he have before I'm come here, because I have the same way in Toronto when I was like alone. I don't have this player to have combination in my 3 years. What I say in Toronto, I don't have this player to have combination. I need to go to the defense to have the ball, to go in attack to attack. So you need to have a lot of work, and I know what I feel with Gonzalo in the past, that he need to do the work for the number 10 and the work for the number 9. So it's difficult for him to go to the middle to have the ball and after to score goal. So now he have more chances to score goal, because he need to have more power to stay higher, or to stay like a number 9, and I can do this job because I like to give him pass. So this is what I feel. He have more confidence, and you know, everybody know the quality that Gonzalo have. This is no question about this. So if he have somebody, then he can give the ball, so he can score easy because he have this quality.
He was honestly so delightful to sit down and talk to. And Phil, you always taught me this. Wanting the fans to want more, that's what you call a tease. So if you want to watch the whole sit-down interview, head over to intermiamicf.com for the entirety of that clip. We even did some fun rapid fire where he liked living better. Was it Toronto? Was it Miami? I'm not going to say anything, but let's just say he likes the palm trees. They don't have those in Toronto. What are you making of someone like Pozuelo? We saw him his first season at Toronto FC. His second season was Player of the Year in Major League Soccer, MVP. But then that third year in Toronto fell off a little bit, and now he's come here and reinvented himself.
Well, in many ways, I think the fall off had more to do with the Toronto roster than it did with Pozuelo. And we've seen it was a total rebuild that has rekindled them. He was just part of the people that ended up getting pushed to the side to make room. And I was talking with Thomas a little bit during the break. He is an awesome player to build a team around. And he's a guy that's had success in this league. He's had success abroad. He's still young enough. You could still probably get 3 or 4 years out of him. And looking even at the sidelines, someone like a Javi Morales, an MLS legend who's now on the youth coaching staff here. Those are guys that can impart wisdom and actually, from a Pozuelo perspective, actually see it pay off on the field in goals and assists. So Pozuelo, it was a no-brainer. Full credit to Chris Henderson. Full credit to Phil Neville for finding a way to make it fit in. And that move, I think, has been the turning point for Inter Miami more than anything.
Thomas, do you feel like a broken record saying Chris Henderson, great move, Chris Henderson reinvented Inter Miami? But let's just call a spade a spade. He's come in and he's given life back to someone like Gonzalo Higuain that was criticized so heavily in that first and second season. The last 5 matches, he's literally looked like a new player. He looks fitter, he looks faster, he looks stronger, he looks less frustrated.
Miami's DP since Pozuelo has arrived, by the way, 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss as well. 8 goals, 7 goals, and 4 assists combined. Both won Player of the Week in the last 3 weeks as well. And you touched on it, Kalen, a few times, not just today in his interview, but prior as well. And you and I are on the same wavelength. There's something special about him.
Yeah.
His calm on the ball. He buys you a little bit more time for players to get in better positions. He sees things quickly if needed. The through balls to Higuain, for instance, that didn't come years before, that has given Higuain second life. I love watching him play. Composed, calm, brilliant on the ball, and a great decision maker in the final third that we didn't have prior to this year. There's only 2 starters from last year, Higuain and Gregory, in the 11. So again, Chris Henderson, Phil Neville, well done.
But Thomas, one thing that concerns me, and Kalen, you would know this as a player, when you take on the better teams, and say NYC full strength, where the win means you move on or you go home, when you take on teams like that down the stretch, and Miami's going to play a lot of those games coming up, you got to have more than 2 players. Someone needs to step up, which is why it was important for Lassiter last week. It's going to be even more important for someone else. Campana's still out for another month or so. Robinson's probably gone for the year. Someone needs to step up, and why not tonight?
So let's look at tonight. How does someone like Pozuelo, Thomas, let's start with you with this, and then Phil, I want to jump to you because you've called a lot of these big matches. A player going up against his old club, you have almost that extra energy. How do you settle yourself to be like, this is what it needs to do well, this is Toronto's strengths in this match, and this is what we need to do to cancel those out?
You look at matchups, the biggest matchup, we talked about one of ours, Pozuelo, is against Michael Bradley. You know, and these 2 guys have gone at each other. Great competitors, by the way. That should be a brilliant matchup as well. If Michael Bradley can keep Pozuelo at bay, all of a sudden that front 3 of Lassiter, Taylor, and Higuain might not have that supply. But in saying that, we've seen a constant for Phil in his front 5. Lassiter this week, Duke last week, but Taylor now 3 goals, Higuain at 8. We know that Pozuelo can do that as well. And Mota and Gregory, those 3 guys have really played well together. You can say out wide, Yedlin versus Insigne or Bernardeschi. And the other side, obviously, be it McVeigh against the other Italian as well. And you throw in, actually, the X factor for them, who didn't play in the last game, Jimenez, the Spanish guy, who's still the leading goal scorer and leading assist guy. That will be an interesting matchup for be it Sailor or Lowe, whoever starts in the back for Inter Miami. But yes, the Bradley-Pozuelo matchup intrigues me the most.
Can we just give a shout-out to our media team? I mean, they're absolutely outstanding. We got the Jibs pitch side. We got this little machine. Broadcast team. They're just honestly outstanding. They were the ones that shot that video as well. They're the best in the league. Such a delight to work with them. You touched on 2 big players, those 2 Italians in the wing play. Phil, how do we deal with them defensively? Because crosses from wide area is sometimes where we tend to struggle. Drake Callender has stepped up a lot, just his vocal communication, his presence between the pipes. But how do you stop that service? Do you go with a flat back 4, or do you maybe tinker with that back 3 with the wing backs helping create those overloads, those 2v1s?
Well, I think part of it is actually keeping them honest, as Thomas was talking about with the Andre Yedlin. If you can kind of keep their wings pushed back, that makes life a lot easier. And if you can actually end up forcing Insigne to play some defense, thank heavens.
Will he, though?
But at the same point, I think the real key is going to be Callender. He needs to be vocal. He needs to move Lowe around, Sailor around. We have the height there, 6'3", 6'3", 6'4". So I think if there is going to be something that happens in the air, it's going to be a mix-up. So you got to have that combination. And you guys are the defenders. I don't know why I'm saying this. You got to have that mix-up between man marking and zonal. You got to have the guys ready for the second ball to try and get it clear. They just have to be on for 90 minutes.
Let's make one thing clear.
Can we
KK and I were on a different level, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And we were holding midfielders, Phil.
Can we say one thing? Why does everyone think we were central defenders? We are number sixes. All right, we got stuck in.
There you go.
Don't go anywhere because we're going to get stuck into the starting 11s when we come back. We might even kick Phil off set. We brought him in once. It might be his first and last. So stay tuned.
To have a truly great career, you need to be with a great company. Now's your chance to go be great at AutoNation. Go to jobs.autonation.com for endless career opportunities. Work at America's largest and most admired automotive retailer that's driving towards $35 million donated to fight cancer. For industry-leading benefits and a great work experience, visit jobs.autonation.com now and go be great.
Over the last 75 years, City National Bank has always been there for our neighbors. Like this year, when we saved over 300,000 jobs like Michelle's. And because she's at work, her food distributor is on the job too. And so is the woman that does his website. And the accountant that keeps her books as well. Because when you thrive, we all thrive. City National Bank, 75 years of tradition, a future of promise.
¿Qué te pareció el partido?
Bueno, por suerte metimos al captain a tiempo y se llevó muy bien con la piña. Es un dúo que nos gustó mucho y va a ser historia en esta casa. Si quieres vivir un partido épico, mete al captain.
Gracias.
New fan loyalty platform. Coming soon. Become a VIP. Win big prizes. Grand prizes. Tickets. Team gear. Travel. Experiences. Gadgets. A new way to compete. Win. Earn. Connect. Official loyalty and gamification partner. Inter Miami. X Mana. xmana.com.
Everyone is celebrating this goal. Wendy's Goal Deal! Now enjoy a delicious double stack plus small fries, small Coca-Cola, 4-piece nugs, and a junior Frosty for only $6. Celebrate Wendy's epic goal!
We changed our fries to make them hot and crispy every single time.
High five.
And every single time, Toby insists we high five.
High five. High five. High five. It'll catch on, right?
Try Wendy's hot and crispy fries. Preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's.
Honestly, our broadcast team, we need a raise. Look at this. Look at the inside scoops that you're getting. You're literally in the 18-yard box with our goalkeepers just behind us. You can see the players running out now, getting ready for warm-up. Toronto was out a little bit earlier. Bad decision. If they know anything about South Florida, they know it's hot and humid. Someone else that knows it's hot and humid, Phil Neville, just getting off directly from a flight, trying to sort out his green card over in England, and I got to talk to him before the pre-match. Let's take a listen. All right, bit of a whirlwind of a week for yourself. You went back, got your green card sorted. How was it for someone like you? You love being on ground. You love dealing with the players. So mentally, how were you able to still interact with both the players and the managers?
Well, I mean, we've got great coaches and we've got a really good team. That didn't change. It's just that feeling of, in England we say FOMO, the fear of missing out. And, I was texting, Zooming, FaceTiming, calling. The team was in good place. Coming, I felt that the NYC game, me leaving after that was more positive. I know this is going to be a big game tonight. We prepared well all week. The team are in a really good place. And I think it's going to be one of those real special occasions.
Well, your home form speaks for itself, but how are you able to deal with this Toronto side? Because they've added a lot of pieces to the puzzle, specifically these Italian threats, and now they're 5 games undefeated.
Well, I think if they'd have had the league started 5 games ago, you'd be saying that they'd be favourites to win the league. I think they've got that much quality. The two Italians in wide areas, the Italian at left back, they're world-class players. But it is the 3rd game of the week. It is Florida. It is hot, and we're hoping that we're gonna, utilise the surroundings here, our supporters, and the fact that our home record is so good.
Perfect. Well, best of luck tonight.
Okay.
Well, Phil made it very evident and very obvious in all of his press conference leading up to this one is he wanted to fill this stadium. We've seen it full for that Legends game and just how electric it was, and we're starting to see it fill up because of the home form that they've been having, Thomas.
Yeah, without a doubt. 9 undefeated out of 10, and in the last 6, over 2.5 goals. So if you talk about excitement, this is clearly a team to watch. Now, Toronto in the last 4, also over 2.5 goals per match as well. So on paper, this could be 3-3 or 4-4. I don't think so, because it's a huge game for both. TO loses, I don't think they'll make it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
We win, all of a sudden, tonight, depending on one other result, we could jump into 5th position, which is crazy. There's like 8 or 9 teams from 5th to 13th, so tight as well. But going back to Phil Neville, he talked about home field advantage again, Kalen. You and I talked about it. Phil mentioned it. Yes, it's a little cooler, but it's still the humidity is what opposing teams really lack in the last 15 minutes. And there is a real understanding now. If you look at those games won at home, they're won late, very late.
Yeah.
And I think that's
due
the
to
key
substitutions
also.
or even starters, be Pozuelo, obviously. And that's so important. We can now grind out and win late in games. And a no-die kind of attitude that Phil Neville and obviously Chris Henderson have instilled in his team as well. They believe.
Well, it might not be like watching DJs overnight at South Beach, but they do leave it late. And I think from a fan perspective, it's something you talked about, trying to fill the stadium, and it takes some time. But the one thing that you have to do, and MLS has learned about this from the very beginning, you can't be boring.
Yeah.
This Miami team is fun to watch. Inter Miami is going to play from 0 to 90 plus, and they've been coming out with points.
Well, as long as we're not seeing Thomas Rongen in a Speedo on South Beach, I'm good. I'm good with it. And I love how a Dutchman and a Canadian are saying it's not hot in South Florida. As you can see the sweat beating down our faces. So what is that, Thomas? You just touched on it, and Phil, you just touched on it as well, that 0 to the 90th minute, and even that extra time, those 6 minutes extra time, you see them scoring those late game winners. Some of the players have touched on the fitness personnel that they brought in.
Yep.
Obviously, you saw what she had done with the U.S. Women's National Team, winning that World
Yep.
Cup. Is that the key difference? Is fitness, or is it more of a mentality that Phil has implemented, kind of got rid of maybe some toxic players and brought in some good team players?
I think it's a combination of both, Kalen. You're absolutely spot on. It starts with fitness, obviously, and that was one of the areas that both Phil and Chris said wasn't good enough the last 2 years. So let's spend a lot of money to get the best people here, and which they've done. And they referred to that the last 2 weeks as well in post-game interviews by Phil Neville coming out and saying, this staff has done an incredible job. These guys want to train more and harder. These guys want to train at noon because they know it is an advantage on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock to win games. And that's going back to the mentality. They got the right attitude right now. They're pushing the threshold of pain like you and I used to do in games a little bit more. They're willing to suffer. And I know it's a big word, suffering, but they are. And then good things will happen late because they got the technical, tactical ability, but also the mindset now that it can win against anybody at any given time.
Well, it's that synergy, though, Kalen. The front office has to create an environment for the players to succeed, but then the players have to want to succeed and take advantage of that. You look at Kieran Gibbs, who's still struggling to get used to MLS physicality and South Florida weather, but you look at Gonzalo Higuain, who realized where he was in his career that he needed to do something. So he took advantage of everything, and now we're looking at maybe one of the most dangerous strikers in MLS.
So now looking at this side tonight, let's touch on someone like a Drake Calendar. Thomas, he's won out that #1 spot through and through adversity, but he does it in a mannerism where I've really never seen a goalkeeper like. Usually it's those crazy goalkeepers that are a little bit mental, like in the best possible way. They have a screw loose. That's why good goalkeepers are good goalkeepers.
Correct.
He's out meditating. He's going to church. Him and DeAndre Yedlin have a Bible study on game days.
He's a poet.
Yeah, he's a poet. I mean, the man does everything. So what is kind of set himself apart to have that #1 spot?
Well, I think when an opportunity occurs, and I've been there as a player as well, when I was number 12 or 13 on the depth chart in very good NASL teams, but when my time came, I grabbed them most of the time. The opportunities, and I think what he's got the right mindset.
Yeah.
He's fearless. He's composed under pressure, even with lack of experience, because it was the number 3 coming in, obviously. He does not give up rebounds, and Nick Marsman did on a few occasions. Yes, Nick Marsman is better with his feet, but Drake Calendar's got better, and he's commanding his box. And the most important thing for number 6s around the world, who once in a while get in the penalty boxes on both sides, that if a goalkeeper can come over his line and grab a ball, there's no better feeling for Lowe, Saylor, McVeigh to have that kind of guy who clearly has said, this is mine to lose.
And I think one thing, sorry, Phil, just that back line of Inter Miami, we've seen the center back shifts, whether that's a back 3 or that flat back 4, and you just alluded to it. If you have a good goalkeeper in between the pipes that has that confidence, it allows young players like a Saylor that we've seen come into the starting lineup, and Damian Lowe that quite frankly struggled early on and has been probably the mainstay center back with Inter Miami.
No, the ability to verbally communicate with your defense is very important. I did not sense that from Marsman. Maybe it was the foreign language that stepped in at the beginning. With Callender, I sense a guy that is quite comfortable where he is. And the other thing you talked about from a religious perspective, from the poetry, from the camaraderie with DeAndre Yedlin, if you're a goalkeeper, unlike any other position on the field, you have to be mentally strong, because the only time people notice you is when you get beat. And he's made mistakes, but he doesn't tend to make the same mistake twice. So I think he has a strong inner core. He has a strong support team around him, and that's helping him grow into Miami's #1.
And Caleb, we both know how important the axis is. And now all of a sudden the axis starts with Drake Callender and ends with Gonzalo Higuain, with a few decent players in between, be it Lowe, Gregory, Mota, Pozuelo, obviously. You build a team around the axis, in my opinion. That's what I did with the previous teams, and those guys are right now pretty darn good.
Yeah, we've always talked about that. The season 1 and season 2 is that spine of the team that Inter Miami didn't have. We had success from those wide areas. I actually got to talk to Drake Callender ahead of this one in a little bit of a flash interview, and I just want to take a quick listen, because you can just feel the energy of when he speaks, of just how calm, cool,
What's
and
the difference between a
is.
tease and a flash?
Just take a listen, Tom.
Okay.
A flash
All right.
I'm going to show you. It's easy. You got to go search yourself, or stay tuned after a commercial break. Let's have a listen to Drake Callender. All right, Drake, your play speaks for itself, but how have you kept it mentally? Obviously, you've earned that #1 spot here at Inter Miami. What's it been like both in the locker room and maybe on game day as well? Has anything changed for you in preparation?
Not much. I just try to keep my game day routine the same as it has been. Really be consistent with that. And just ensuring that I'm taking the right approach when it comes to training the week of, game day, making sure my mind and body is right, so then when it comes game time, I'm ready to go.
I love it. We are all seeing it on social media with the yoga and the meditation and the reading, so us as fans love to see it as well. Now, you're playing against a very good Toronto side. Obviously, since bringing in the Italians from overseas, they're undefeated in their last 5 games. How are you guys going to deal with those attacking threats?
Yeah, we're really going to use our home field advantage and just approach it like any other game, really. Like, it's just one game at a time. I feel like we've also been in some really good form too, so it's just bringing that confidence that we built up and getting a good start to the game and playing a full 90 minutes.
Perfect. Well, best of luck tonight.
Awesome. Thank you.
He's got to be the nicest person here at Inter Miami, and we do have a lot of lovely players on this team, but this is the starting 11 for Inter Miami heading out to this one. You have Gonzalo Higuain obviously leading that line. We touched on Gregory and Mota in that midfield. T, let's start with you. Any surprises?
No, not really surprises. I mean, 2 changes, obviously. Lassiter starting because due to his great, his goal and his appearance off the bench over Bryce Duke. A back 3, but might become a back 4 depending on, what they see early against Toronto, which is overly Saylor, McVeigh, and Lowe, Yedlin out wide on one side and Taylor on the other side. You're absolutely right. The anchors in midfield, Mota and Gregory and Pozuelo. It's been just such a good triangle there as well. Pozuelo can at times float out wide, but I expect him to be a little bit more central today.
Yeah, and then Toronto FC coming out with their typical 4-3-3. Michael Bradley in that holding midfielder role. You have Richie Larea coming back from Nottingham Forest, slotting back into the starting 11. You can see what he does here. He loves to drive forward. He loves to create those 2v1s. So especially down this right-hand side with someone like Richie Larea and Bernadeschi, how are we going to be able to deal with that? Is it better if we go with a back four or with maybe that back five?
I think a back four, quite frankly, would make the most sense, because then you can play 4 versus 3 defensively with their 3 forwards, which is just normally your wide players, be it Taylor, be it Lassiter, whomever, just to make sure that they stay honest with the attacking fullbacks. And I think that right side of T.O., you mentioned that, is it Richie?
Richie Larea.
Yeah, who's got 3 assistants. He come back as well. He loves to attack there, so it's important if Lassiter is on that side or Taylor. Try to make them defend you first and foremost, but when they come, you got to be honest and track as well.
Phil,
and
quick last words.
I was going to say, I think that's why Phil Neville is showing the 3. It's basically a more defensive look from Taylor at the start, but I think if they can get Yedlin to push up and keep the other side honest, it could be a fun night.
Oh, well, it is going to be a fun night, Phil, because you're back with me and Thomas Wrong and Pitchside. These two, you can catch them both on the radio. Thank you so much to our broadcast team that literally pulled out all the stops here. Should see what's going on behind the scenes. We literally look like a mechanical warehouse, and I'm here for it. Tune in for the match at 8 o'clock with myself, Ray Hudson, and Andres Cordero. The BN team's back together. I'm like losing my mind. Ciao, ciao.
We're all button pushers. Double tap. We're all button pushers, double tappers, swipers, and now used car buyers. Go to AutoNation.com today. You'll see thousands of one-price pre-owned vehicles online right now. All your favorite makes and models, all quality inspected, all priced to sell with no hassles. Plus, we'll even pay top dollar for your car. Go to the AutoNation store near you or AutoNation.com. What drives you drives us. AutoNation.
¿Qué te pareció el partido?
Bueno, por suerte metimos al captain a tiempo y se llevó muy bien con la piña. Es un dúo que nos gustó mucho y va a ser historia en esta casa. Si quieres vivir un partido épico, mete al captain.
Gracias.
I need to try it first.
Stir things up with Espolón Tequila, the official tequila sponsor of Inter Miami CF. Made with hand-harvested 100% Blue Weber agave from Los Altos de Jalisco, Mexico. Grab an Espolón cocktail at a stadium bar today.
Has served this community for more than 40 years. We guarantee 100% termite eradication or your money back.
Call Aflex.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
The Mesman & Dover Law Firm is about community for me.
For us, South Florida is our home.
You all are our people, our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters.
Because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us anytime at 866-954-MORE. The Mesman & Dover, your accidentattorneys.com.
because I've got the best-looking woman in South Florida and the best-looking woman here at the organization. Adriana Sandoval, thank you so much. Obviously, you're part of the Inter Miami Foundation. Now, I am a little bit disappointed. I'm going to give you the best-looking woman in South Florida, but I'm not going to give you something else. We still haven't got our hands on these shirts that I talked about last pre-match and how incredible they are. Walk us through it. Where's all the proceeds going? Where can we find these? Because the amount of people that I have tweeting at me, and I'm like, hold on, because we have it on our pregame show. I'll tell you in about 20 minutes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. We're excited to be here. And yes, these shirts, these are just one of many products that we have online.
The back is the best.
The back is the best. It's the Inter Miami CF Foundation t-shirt. We do have a couple products online. We have an Inter Miami CF Foundation store where proceeds all go back into the foundation, which then go back into the community. So right now we have limited products because they are a limited collection. The idea is to periodically upload signed merchandise, things from the boys, player-signed stuff. So keep an eye on the merchandise store. It's going to be very exciting. All proceeds will go to charity. They will go to the foundation. So we're excited about it. And you can find it online. You can find it in intermiamicf.com. Go to the community tab, foundation tab, and there you will see us.
And what kind of charities do they go to if maybe people aren't really familiar with who Inter Miami works with?
Well, Inter Miami CF right now, our foundation has been working behind the scenes for about 2 years. We are all about harnessing the power of football to do good. So we have been building our relationship in the community, going out to all of the underserved communities around South Florida. We do serve Miami-Dade, Broward, and West Palm Beach. So we have been in conversations with them. We've asked them what they need. We've been working with organizations like the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County. We work a lot with Title I schools throughout Miami-Dade County and Broward County. So all proceeds will go to benefit these types of programs. We've done a lot around education. We've done a lot around access, whether it's to healthcare, to access to football. We do a massive equipment drive, and I actually have a really cool project next week where we're going to be working with West Palm Beach Public Schools and the Education Foundation to bring Wi-Fi to the families in West Palm Beach that are currently not living with internet in their homes.
Honestly, what you do is beyond me because I feel like you never sleep. But what Inter Miami does, I think that's one of the most important things, and one of the things that I love most about this club is not only what we're producing on the pitch and into the stands, but what we're producing into the community. I mean, the food drives even that you guys did during COVID, trying to get people resources that they were so limited through. So I think that's one thing that people know when they come to Inter Miami. It's a very difficult place to go. It's not because of the players. It's because of people like you behind the scenes that don't get the credit that you deserve. So make sure you go. Where can we find these again if someone is just tuning in right now?
You can find them. Go to intermiamicf.com, press the community tab, and then you will find our foundation tab. You can get all information on us and go to Inter Miami CF Foundation store and buy your merch today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Now get out of this heat and humidity. Try to find air conditioning somewhere. Enjoy this match. I am in my Canadian tuxedo, everyone, but I am rooting for Inter Miami here. I do love Canada, but not as much as I love Inter Miami. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the AutoNation Pre-Game Show. From myself, Thomas Rong, and Phil Sheng, Andres Cordero, and Ray Hudson, we'll see you at kickoff.
Button pushers, double tappers, swipers, and now used car buyers. Go to AutoNation.com online right now. All your favorite